we've always been discussing. So I suppose the one thing that we can get from this is that, you know what I said about with Moses being able to go to God?
Yeah.
But because obviously it seems as if the Pope doesn't have any way of not that any of us know of doing that. So doesn't that then mean that it's like we're all in the same boat, including the Muslims, in that it's really down to whoever's like actually running that organisation. That's who really makes the decision.
Okay, we're not in the position of the Muslims because this is a patently false religion. It's not just that it's not just that I don't have its values or I think it's appalling in its values. It's simply that you can show. He was talking about this. Mecca is a fantasy.
Oh yeah, but
right?
that's not what I meant. What I meant is not in terms of the proving what the history or what they believe.
Okay.
It's when something comes up, like what happened with Moses.
Yeah.
None of the beliefs have the option that Moses had to actually go to God.
Okay.
And get the actual answer.
Okay. Now, no man in this age has the capacity to go to God and get an answer to a question. And if anybody says they do, and this comes up amongst Protestant so-called prophets, they believe. I believe there are prophets, but I don't believe it in the way the Protestant folks believe it, because some people set themselves up as prophets, and they prophesy. They're prophesying that Trump was going to be president again. Now, I do believe dodgy things went on in the election, but he isn't sitting in the White House. So they never prophesied about that. No, he was going to win on a 50-50 coin toss. They got it wrong. There's a guy called Sid Roth. You know Sid Roth? He has programs on the telly. Apparently he's deleted loads of the videos where he had interviews with people who were the prophets, who were saying Trump's going to be president again. Anyhow, so many people who will call themselves prophets, of course, it's a recipe for dodgy types. Nobody, you see, can be sure that God will speak to him. Jesus decided to set up an institution with leaders. They wouldn't be. St. Paul wasn't going to God for a prophecy. He had the Holy Spirit inspiring him, and the apostles did. But when they died, the church moved to another phase. The Spirit could inspire men, did inspire men at times, but doctrine was to be, the Spirit was to work through the church in its councils and in its bishops, especially the Pope.
All right. So do you still believe you know what Peter said on the day of Pentecost? You know, in his sermon, about the prophecy from Joel, where he said the sons and the daughters will prophesy.
Yeah. So
do you believe that, as Catholics, do you believe that it's still going on?
Yeah. Like I said, I believe there are prophets, but not in the way the Protestants go on about them.
Well, I don't mean prophets, I mean what Peter said, that's what
Yeah, there are prophets, because I believe there are prophets. I think that's quite proper. But who they are, and whether they're genuine or not, any particular one who says he's a prophet, really you have to listen to what he says, then wait and see whether what he says comes about.
Yeah, well actually I was going to say...
You can't know, though, whether he is.
No, the easiest way to know if there ever was a true prophet, a real one, is go back on YouTube and see if someone said in, what year was it, 2019, that there would be a virus coming, that pandemic around the world, and Russia would invade Ukraine.
Yeah, none of them said it.
So anyone who said that from 2019, then that's the true prophet.
Yeah, Alex Jones said in about August last year, he said they'd invade in February 2022. So Jones was spot on, but he perhaps had some information. Who knows? I mean,
but they'd already invaded Crimea and no one said anything.
Yeah.
So if you really knew if you really looked at what's happening there, anyone would have said, of course, they want to take over the rest of Ukraine. It's only a matter of time. It's not exactly sort of psychic, is it?
But I think that what the gentleman's saying effectively is, we'll not find anything on YouTube where somebody was predicting this, and it just shows how
if you study like the history of Ukraine and Russia, then you will be able to guess what's going to happen in the future. So studying history basically makes you the best guesser of what's going to happen in the future. That's what Thomas Hobbes says.
Yeah, but the classic one still is the pandemic, because a whole heap of those prophets, like you were saying.
And Kenneth Copeland stood there in 2020 and he said, COVID, you're finished. And that was, middle of 2020. Well, of course, that's false. So that shows he's a false prophet. But You see, there's a tendency to just go too far, to feel you want certain gifts, so you decide in your mind you've got them, and then you make stupid statements. That's the problem, I think, with because the ego gets involved.
But I think I mentioned before that I think the reason why they get so confident is because of the amount of people that listen to them.
Yeah.
And I've noticed a lot of people are like that. Is once they get a lot of, they sense they've got a lot of ears, it just makes them more and more confident.
Yes.
And